Welcome back to another episode of Bench Mob ENT podcast. For those that are listening, there's a man on the screen that is a friend of the show, none other than Griffin Prock, GP, aka the Threads man. GP is back in the building. Every time he's on, it's a great episode. So y'all know you're about to get great content, and it's proven in the numbers. Anytime he's on, our numbers do very, very, very well. Y'all like Griff, so. Griff gonna be on monthly. How everybody doing?
Doing good, Tone. Thanks for having me back. Greg, Miles, what's up? Happy to help support. You guys come back on my podcast soon. I love the community we got here on Threads across social media. It's a good time. So hopefully I got some good takes here. I mean, hey, not every time. Who knows?
If you don't have good takes, they're gonna kill you because these people who tune into the Bench Mob podcast aren't the nicest. So if you say something they don't agree with, I said something positive about Drake last week, and they killed me. It was like 300 comments of just pure filth and toxicity. So, it is what it is, man. I don't even worry about it.
Hey, before we even start, I want to shout out Griff just had huge interview, huge guest on. Billy Jackson Sports was on his pod recently. Make sure I go check that out. That's one of the premier people in sports right now. She's doing her thing, killing it. And Griff got her on the show, and it was a good episode. So you definitely want to go check that out. Show about sports. Run that up for him. NBA playoffs is in full effect. We had some crazy game sevens last night. We're going to hop right into it. Of course, we talk about playoffs. We're going to talk draft combine. We're going to talk about Bronny, of course. Bronny's going to come up in conversation. We're going to talk about the next matchups coming up. But starting off with that, game 7, right? So yesterday was the first time in NBA history that we had 2 road teams win a game 7. I want to start off with that Nuggets Timberwolves series. And what was y'all thoughts on it? What went wrong with the Nuggets and so forth? Before we even get into that, I'm gonna let y'all hear how Mike Malone felt about it.
Is it just to absorb a loss like this after going ahead by 20?
Next question, man. The season's over. That's what's hard. Fuck being up 20. The season's over. You don't understand that. The season's over. It's hard. Stupid ass questions.
I like Malone, bro. He's a character.
He says it how he sees it, man.
So they were up 20 go in the third quarter and lose that game. What do y'all from watching that series? They lose 3 home games. What went wrong with the Nuggets?
I mean, I don't even know where to start. I just rewatched the highlights from my personal opinion, and you're right. It's like 7 minutes left in the third quarter, and they're up by 20. It's just a lack of execution, and I think it really comes down to Denver had been there before. They don't have that hunger that the Timberwolves have, where you're like, oh, wait, this could be our first title. Ant's looking at it, and his whole team is taking it like this could define our careers here. And I think that really played a factor at the end of that game in terms of just juice and the ball falling the way it should. And Jaden McDaniels, a.k.a. KD 2.0, making shots. Like, it just – I thought that was really important, but I'll let somebody else jump in too. It was about execution there.
I got a lot of thoughts, but I don't know if Miles had thoughts too. But I called this series pretty spot on in an episode before the series started, and I said that Cat had to play well, and he had to pull Jokic away from the basket, but also attack and mismatches, and just be the guy they thought you would be when they drafted you, with the top overall pick. And I think he did that. He had a great series. I can't complain about his performance. He's one of the greatest shooting bigs of all time. I think we can say that comfortably. And so he played amazing. He deserves a lot of credit. But for me personally, watching that series, there were a couple things. I think when you can rotate 2 or 3 bigs that are defensively inclined and can guard, on Jokic, you're in a good spot. And I think the Lakers had that formula and gave it away stupidly. And I thought it was stupid in real time. And it still bothers me to this day because you had JaVale and you had Dwight and you had AD. You could just rotate, and that's how you beat that team regardless. Jamal Murray's performance will fluctuate. MPJ's performance will fluctuate because he's not getting to the basket. So when your game is oriented on taking a bunch of perimeter jump shots, you're not gonna win. You're not gonna win, and you're certainly not gonna play great over and over and over again. It's hard to do that, right? Just shooting the ball repeatedly. So even though you can't contest his shot, it's still tough to play like that. And so it's just tough to be a jump shooter in that fashion. But yeah, I mean, I think they were able to get to Jamal when your best player in the Timberwolves is and Edwards. He can defend, and he's able to defend in space and get out on Jamal Murray. It's what are you doing? Like, it's hard, and you can rotate him and then Jaden McDaniels and then Nickeil Alexander-Walker. They had the great defensive perimeter players, and Naz Reid was one of the biggest reasons why they won the series. Naz Reid getting offensive rebounds, Naz Reid making big threes, Naz Reid attacking from the perimeter, getting to the rim at will. It's hard to guard that when you have that kind of pressure coming from a guy who's 6'9", handles the ball like a guard, comes downhill, can make passes, can make reads, no pun intended. And so he was awesome all series long. And so they were able to win the battle on the glass in the games they won, and they were able to knock down the three ball at an efficient clip. There's nothing that team can't do. They're complete. They're a complete basketball team from top to bottom, and they don't need Anthony Edwards to carry them every game, as we saw last night. They have enough guys to come to the party who can all play, can all dribble, pass, and shoot. And Mike Conley's huge for them. He gets them good shots, quality shots. The Sun just takes some notes. That's why you need a point guard. You can't just run guys out there and then have a point guard. It doesn't work, which is why we called that series going the way it went for the Suns. But I think when you look at that series and how it went, it was pretty predictable. I think the Nuggets gave a nice, valiant effort, but they weren't the better team. And Gobert's ability to be near the paint, and you have two bigs. You're playing Cat and Gobert at the same time. That's tough. It completely eliminates Aaron Gordon in the dunker spot, the way he was in that Lakers series, just catching passes, drop-off passes, and dunking. It's tough. Like, you're not getting that. It's eliminated because Gobert's just hanging out there and he's waiting for you. He had a big block last night in crunch time of that game on Gordon off of a pass that Jamal Murray made to him. It was a huge play, too. And I'll say this about the Mike Malone thing, too. I'm a big believer that there's a way that coaches should conduct themselves, win or loss, period. And he's the second coach to make an ass out of himself in this postseason. The first one being Darvin Ham, because I don't care what they were saying about you, Darvin Ham. I don't care that they were mudslinging on your name. First of all, there was a lot of it was deserved, but I understand it's you, and you as being, you being the coach, and you being a human being, you want to get your get back on the way out, knowing you're about to get fired. But telling people that you're starters and throwing the blame on the starters not playing well, and like throwing little subtle jabs on the way out is not a way to handle yourself. And if you're Mike Malone, you're talking a lot of trash when you're up. Don't be a front runner. You talk all this trash when you were up. You talk like you were the one out there playing, like you were the one out there making plays. Okay, you're a hell of a coach, phenomenal coach, elite coach. He is. But there is something about the arrogance that he carries himself with that made that team easy to root against. And then you saw it last night. It reared its ugly head, right? You lose. A reporter asked a reasonable question about how you feel about giving up a 20-point lead. It was right there in your grasp, and you gave it away. And then you take his head off. You take his head off and say a stupid question, and you curse him out on TV. It's unacceptable to me. It doesn't make any sense. And I hope that, and I know it won't change because he's a Jersey guy. And that's just Jersey dudes. That's how they are, right? He's gonna be the same guy. He's gonna be brash. He's gonna be vocal. He's gonna be talking all the trash in the world. But don't be a front runner with it. Don't be Tyrese Halliburton wearing a Reggie Miller choking shirt after the game. Before the game, you don't wear it. Wear it to the game. Call your bluff. Wear it to the game. So I just don't like that. But he made it easy to root against them.
The other factor too with that, I couldn't play the whole press conference, but he said that they were the better team, but then proceeded to give every reason of why they lost, and an excuse of, we were playing all last year. We had a long year. We played a lot of games, this, that, and the third. My wife didn't make the chicken cacciatore correctly. All these different reasons of why it didn't work out, which basically undermined saying that the Timberwolves were the better team. He did not take accountability at all in his press conference, which was actually nasty work, being that you was talking cash crazy all year. Own it, wear it. Nikola, I liked his response. He was struggling to get everybody's name out, but he said, hey, they're the better team. Naz Reid, he was struggling to get the names out, but he at least took accountability. Miles, I want to ask you this because this is crazy now. This is a stat that a lot of people have been throwing out. Some people haven't paid attention to it. Over the last 5 seasons, every NBA champion the following year has exited in the second round. We have not seen any repeat champions in the last 6-7 seasons. The era of dynasties and seeing back-to-back champs, is that era over? Like, are we ever going to see a back-to-back champ? Forget even a dynasty. Are we ever going to see a back-to-back champ?
I think it's going to be tougher now that they changed things up and the way you can build your team, where realistically you can only have 2, top stars on your team, and then you have to build out your roster. That's why, like, the Suns doing what they did with Bradley Beal was idiotic. But I don't know. I don't know if we'll ever see another dynasty in the way we saw like Golden State or the Spurs and teams like that, just because you're not going to be able to keep some guys. Some guys are going to have to leave in free agency, and money talks. So not everybody's going to take a home team discount. Like, Knicks have a couple free agents this year, Hartenstein, OG. I mean, I could see us losing Hartenstein because there's teams out there that need a big, and the most we can pay him is like 17. And a team like OKC, who is a little soft in the paint, could use a guy like that. So I could see, people changing teams a little more frequently than, we saw in years past. But yeah, I don't think there's going to be many dynasties, just because it's like a lot more parity in the league. And I think it's better for people watching the games, because I'm sure a lot of people got tired of seeing Cavs versus Golden State for a 4 or 5 year stretch, and they never want to see that again. But I mean, for that to happen, you got to be able to appreciate those teams for how good they were. But I mean, now it's a little different.
Hey, Griff, I want to ask you, because it's a constant debate through different people that have been on the show, some of us in our special group chat. Are you a fan of parity, or are you a fan more of dominance? Do you like seeing a team dominate, or are you more of, I like where it's at in the league right now, where it's parity, where this will be the 6th straight year where we got a different champion?
I think I like parity when it comes to that. I think Miles brings up a really good point based on team construction and the way that all works. It's harder to, build yourself internally. And I was thinking about this, and I also saw a lot of people talking about this as well. Now we're going to kind of view the Nuggets as like the Bucks 2 years ago, or the Raptors even a few years back, where they had one and we all were like next year, but then, Kawhi was gone. The Bucks essentially ran it back with just an older version. It didn't work. They're trying to revamp. We might see the Nuggets do something like that, where they try to get a little bit younger, a little cheaper, run it back. And I think as just like a media group, we all have to now change our focus from, we're not going to see 6 titles. We're not going to see the Golden State kind of run. We're going to have to appreciate what the Nuggets were for that 1 year and how they really almost came back. We always say second round. There's only 4 rounds, and it's not like March Madness where there's like the Sweet 16, the Elite Eight. There's only 4 rounds, so they made it, halfway. But I think it's going to be really interesting to see, and I like parity because I hate the same teams at the bottom of the draft. I want the Pistons to come back. Like, I never got to see the good Pistons. I heard about, the Ben Wallace days, but like I was too busy, being a kid at that point. And so it's like, I like parity. I like in football, I like the Chiefs, but man, like, I want the Seahawks to come back. I like that kind of parity. So that's kind of my answer.
Hey, now the other series that went to go ahead.
There's something that I just want to talk on. I want to talk on real quick.
Uh-huh.
The age of dominance, the age of running off 1 million rings and having a dynasty is over. Not just because of the cap situation, not just because of the fact you can't build a super team anymore. It's also over because there's more talent in the league than there was back when Jordan was doing things, back when Wilt was doing things, back when Russell was doing things. It's not something that Miles putting his hand on his head is not a hot take. It's just reality, but people don't want to hear it. Basketball has never been a better place. Guys are more skilled. Guys are able to do more offensively. Guys are able to pass, dribble, and shoot is a prerequisite now. You cannot just be a big who can't shoot free throws. You can't be a big who can't shoot the 3-ball. That's why we're over here criticizing Zach Edey. I know it's the worst draft ever in terms of skilled players and talented players being in this draft class. Apparently, right? Yeah, we'll get to that. But even now, even with this draft class, everybody's gonna walk into this league and be pretty damn skilled. Right. And so you can't get away with being a Charles Oakley anymore. There's no more enforcers. Draymond hanging on by a thread. Draymond had to make some threes, right? Draymond had to make some threes. He had to expand his game. He's a great passer. He's a great defensive player. He can guard in space. right? But like you can't be Charles Oakley. You're not there to rough dudes up no more. You can't be Bill Cartwright, right? That's done. Those days are over.
You can't even be DeAndre Jordan on the Nuggets. Like he can't even
No.
get some minutes because like that era is over. He is a little bit older, but he hasn't been getting minutes for a long time now.
Have you seen how Clint Capella's career has changed?
Yeah.
Have you seen that? And he was
Andre Drummond
in that same mold. And well, Drummond, he not the sharpest tool in the tool shed. So that's a different conversation. Yeah, that's just he not bright. But guys like the guys we mentioned, like Capella, the guys who are lob threats. It's tough. It's tough. When your game doesn't evolve. Blake Griffin had to make a huge evolution in his game. He was basketball Tarzan. That's why I like to call him basketball Tarzan. He was basketball Tarzan, jumping, all this stuff, and jumping over dudes, dunking the ball, raw physical athletic talent. And it had to change. He had to build up. He went to Detroit and built out his game a little bit, right? And he added some years to his career. That's really what happened. If it hadn't changed, when the athleticism, Russell Westbrook, perfect example. Westbrook, the guy that I can't talk about because people don't want to hear me talk about Westbrook. They don't want to hear me talk about him, Griff. Whenever I bring up Westbrook, people get in their feelings, bro. I get people upset. I just tell the truth, and I'm a truth teller. And so, I said like his game wasn't aging the best. And I wasn't always nice about it, but I was frustrated that he was in LA throwing up gyro balls at the rim, hitting the side of the backboard, all types of crazy stuff. It was tough to watch, and I didn't like it. It was not a good way for him to represent himself or his family. He was dishonoring his last name playing the way he played in the Lakers. So, in all seriousness, man, like his game didn't age well because he didn't refine the skills. He didn't refine the mid-range jump shot. He didn't refine his three ball, and it just fell off a cliff. He's an energy guy now, right? He's a undersized energy guy, and so it's just tough now to dominate the way you used to with all the skill. Which is why we had this conversation on the last show, and I'll stop ranting in a minute about how I asked, will there ever be a All NBA first year guy ever again? Right? Will it ever happen? And I think not, because of where we are, but it's possible. We have to have the next generational guy come along. It's going to be much harder to do.
But we are, like you said, Miles talked about it last week. The best person that we've seen probably as an option would have been Wemby, and it didn't pan out with Wemby. And I don't think it was any fault to his own, but to give context,
20 minutes a game, like that's not his fault,
Right.
To give context to it, the last rookie to make an All NBA team was Tim Duncan. That's how many years it's been. It was Tim Duncan. And before that was David Robinson. And then before David Robinson was Michael Jordan. And then before Michael Jordan, now we started talking about Bob Pettit, and we started talking about the plumbers and all of them.
But let me just say this too. I'll preface this because we got Byron Scott watching a lot of our clips these days, liking our posts, flirting with us on Instagram. So I'm gonna say, man, if Byron, if you were in the NBA right now, you'd be cooking, you'd be nice. But everybody else, I don't know about all that. So I'll say, Byron, you be nice though.
Yeah, hey Byron, come on, man. You be liking the stuff, commenting on it.
Byron met my dad.
Show us some love, man.
Byron met my dad. You don't even know that. He met my dad. My dad fixed his computer. No bull. I'm not even bullshit.
This is big time. You got to get him on the pod. You got to get him out here.
Byron Scott signed a hat for my dad. Still got it in the crib.
Basically your uncle, basically.
That's what I'm saying, though.
Hey, tell your dad to make a call, man. If he still got access to his computer, mess it up and have him. You need to fix it again. Send a virus to his computer.
I would hope he doesn't have that same computer. Back then, he was like coaching the Nets or whatever. That was a long time ago. But you never know.
True. Oh yeah, he out in LA chilling. So yeah.
That is
other series. I don't want to bring up any ill will or feelings, but we got to talk about it. We pretty much everybody on this screen had the Knicks winning the series. Was hopeful that the Knicks would win the series. It didn't pan out that way because a lot of injuries. We're going to talk about the injuries and why we think the series went the way that it went. And we're going to talk about if we thought it was success or a failure for this Knicks squad. But Jalen Brunson had his own opinion on it.
Right.
Why do you feel that way? And how would you evaluate?
Did we win the championship? Did we get close? So, no. That's my mindset. This is how it is.
coming out of the same book of Kobe. We didn't win, so it wasn't success. I appreciate that coming from JB. Unlike Giannis, success, failure. What is that? All right, Giannis. Anywho, Miles, I'm pretty sure you want to start it off. Do we blame Thibs for this series and how it went with all of the injuries? Did he just play them too many minutes?
I don't blame Thibs. One, because I mean, if you look at years past in the playoffs, you play your best guys, and they usually play 40 plus minutes a game. And then two, I mean, all the injuries. What else is he supposed to do? Is he supposed to go to Daquan Jeffries at the end of the bench to give him good minutes? Like, I'm not doing that. Like, I'm riding with Josh Hart for 48 minutes. I'm putting Jalen out there for 45 and Dante for another 45. So it's like everybody wants to blame it on Thibs. Sure. Maybe the one injury you could blame on Thibs is the Josh Hart or the OG, the hamstring. But, like, those were kind of like freak injuries. Like, OG is usually well conditioned. I mean, he's had injuries in the past, but like he was playing really well. And I think like Thibs kind of gets a bad rap, and injuries happen in the NBA. So it's easy to kind of, he plays these guys a lot of minutes. Well, I mean, all these guys should be in shape. They should be ready for these minutes. And I think most of them should want to be out there in, the crunch time and big minutes during the season and postseason. So I don't think Thibs is to blame. I mean, he's the identity of this team. Like, this team finally is an identity. We've adapted to what he wants, which is defense and hard-nosed basketball, which is why, Julius Randle changing his game this year a little bit, playing more inside the arc. That was, I think, Thibs telling him, like, you got to stop shooting so many threes. OG playing well when we traded for him. Like, there's so many factors, but I mean, to just boil it down to blaming Thibs because they think like we ran out of gas, like, injuries happen. Like, did Jalen Brunson's fractured hand, was that Thibs' fault? I mean, if we're going to go down the list, just name every injury and blame it on Thibs.
Yeah, I kind of want to jump in on that too, because we think about how much the pendulum has shifted between like, you got to rest your guys, don't play them all the time, but then play them. We've seen like with Kawhi, he's just getting hurt all the time. I hate to throw him under the bus, but like, he's just getting injured all the time. That injuries are kind of freak, for lack of a better word. You can't plan them. You don't know when it's going to come, and you're supposed to, as a professional athlete, be as ready as you can be. As the Josh Hart was saying, this is what people are working 2 jobs, 100 hours a week. The least I can do is go play this sport. I'm paraphrasing there, but you know what I mean? And so, and again, I don't think we're giving the Pacers enough media credit here. I mean, they shot a record percentage from the field goal in the game 7. I know that was the most banged up the Knicks were, but they almost shot 70%, which is like 8% more than the previous high in terms of shooting. And to shout out the Knicks, they kept up with that pace because the Knicks were the slowest paced team in the NBA this season, and the Pacers were the second fastest to the Wizards. Shout out Jordan Poole for making that a fast offense. But you know what I mean? Like they stuck with them the whole time and kind of showed that they can do everything. And that's where I think people got a little bit worried with the Knicks in the postseason. Like, can they hang with the Sixers? Can they hang with the Bucks? Can they hang with the Pacers? And so it's hard to just put it like, oh, it's just the injuries. That was the problem. No, there's so many other factors. Great play by the Pacers. And then just, hamstrings, you can't trust them. Fractured hand off of a knee when you're trying to block someone. Like, I mean, Brunson's had tape on his hand since I've known him, since I've seen him out there. I mean, his hand's always banged up and he's always playing. So, yeah, I like Miles's points there.
It's patently lazy to blame Thibs for what happened with this postseason. The Knicks didn't have these expectations in my book to get to the conference finals and to get to the NBA finals. And, if they'd been healthy, maybe they would have got there, And so I think you have to extend the Thibs and bring him back and run it back and make a run at a star player if you can that fits what you're trying to do and fits what the culture of the team is. I'm not going to bring up the guy that Miles doesn't want me to bring up because clearly he has other plans. So he can tell me who he wants. We'll do that instead. We'll let him play GM. But I think the Knicks had given it a valiant effort. You can't control injuries. It happens. It's unfortunate. I'm not going to blame Thibs about anything. I thought they had a great season. I think they were the better team than the Pacers, but the Pacers shot the skin off the ball. And to Griff's point and to Tone's point about the Pacers and them being record breaking and playing so well, this is why dynasties are so hard now to achieve, because the skill level is everywhere. Aaron Nesmith comes in, he looked like LeBron all of a sudden, making turnaround fades, baseline moves. What's his name? Ben Shepherd, who I had no idea who that is. I thought he's an NPC, and he out there making threes, making floaters, and he's playing great. So everybody is skilled. There's skill at every position in every crevice of the league. Everybody's good. So it's a tough league now to dominate. Even when you're the better team, sometimes you just lose because guys get hot, and the 3-ball makes it such that you can lose a game, even though you're the better team. And that's what happened. It's all right. The Knicks and Pacers will reignite this little rivalry next year. We'll see how it goes. We'll see where the Pacers stack up. I think the weird thing about sports is you never know how the next year is going to go. You can't assume you're going to be back, because injuries happen, things happen. You don't know. You really don't. And that goes for the Pacers. That goes for any team in this postseason. The Timberwolves, anybody. You don't know. It's not a guarantee. So when Mike Malone sits up there on the podium and goes, well, this is just a blip on the radar. We'll be back. You don't know that, my friend. You don't know that. Okay? You've been fortunate with the injury front. For the last couple of years, you have been. Guys have been healthy. Jokic has never been hurt. He's been healthy. I'm not wishing injury on nobody, but you just don't know. It's pro sports, man. It's a crazy thing. So when you have an opportunity to get to the finals and you lose it, it sucks. And that's why I understand the pain of a Knicks fan, because you're so close. Trust me, if anyone understands that pain, it's me. So I ain't sitting here feeling bad for y'all. Boo-hoo. Like, you'll be okay. And you'll be okay. Y'all used to disappointment. It happens. You'll be fine. You guys have had plenty of calluses. You'll be all right.
Hey, Bobs, before we talk about the next series, right? Greg alluded to it. And Griff, you can hop into if you think of a possible good fit for them. What do you want? What do you see the Knicks should do this offseason? To Greg's point, we don't know what's going to happen next year, and it's projected this is going to be a busy summer. So the same Knicks squad healthy might not be good enough to run it back. What do you want to see this offseason for your Knicks squad, if not Paul George?
I mean, if not Paul George, run it back with the same team. Because, I mean, that same team, healthy, was one of the top 3 or 4 teams in NBA. So, like, if we're being honest, they have to see what this team can do healthy. Like, that January stretch where we were 15-1 for the whole month, where we had Jalen, Julius, and OG. Like, OG fit like a glove. Once we made that trade, because at that point, RJ and Quickly, there were too many cooks in the kitchen. So they downsized and brought in OG. And that was the perfect fit, because he's not a wing that needs to take up 20 shots a game. He plays within the flow of the game. He plays defense. He can defend 1 through 5, which I think that was the biggest thing we missed in this series, was once he got hurt, Pascal was just treating everybody like a cone. And, it was target practice for Josh Hart and Precious. So I think this series is a lot different if OG's out there able to lock up Pascal, which he was doing before he got hurt. So, and the fact that we could have made the conference finals without a couple of our best players, Mitchell Robinson, Randle. I mean, how could you not run it back? I'm sure, there were other injuries in the Eastern Conference, but even before all those injuries, we were one of the better teams in the league. So, I mean, either go that route or trade Randle for another star. If that's Paul George, so be it. If it's someone else, make sure it fits.
Can I interest you in a different New York guy, in Nick Claxton, coming over from the Nets? Say we're going to lose some height. Say we're looking for a guy with a motor. Also, I just want this guy's expensive, but I imagine he's going to take a pay cut now at this point in his career. But think of like a DeMar DeRozan. Any initial thoughts on a DeMar DeRozan? I mean, he's 1 year off of an almost MVP, it feels like. I feel like he's got all of the juice left in the tank, and I feel like he's a big game guy, and he's relatively healthy still. He's expensive, but I don't think I'm looking at it right now, average 27 a year. Nah, that's going down probably near 20, if not lower, on a new contract. So I don't know. Those are 2 names.
mean, shoot, I'd be fine with that too. If we bring him in, then that deepens our bench a little bit. Dante can slide back to the bench. Josh will be on the bench. Deuce, same thing. And now you got Brunson, DeMar, OG, Randall, and Hartenstein or Mitchell Robinson. Either one. Although I'd probably prefer Hartenstein just because he's a little more of a playmaking big and he actually shoots free throws pretty well. So, yeah, DeMar's not a bad pickup. I trust this regime, though. Like, they've been able to turn this thing around in a matter of 2 years. So, I mean, sky's the limit, honestly.
I just think DeMar fits it a little bit better than a Paul George. I don't know. Paul is too relaxed for me. DeMar, I think he takes it really seriously still. And I'm not saying Paul doesn't take it seriously, but like we were talking about Paul George last time he was good was during the Obama administration. Like that's kind of true. Like he's not the same Paul George. He's not defensive player of the year locking up LeBron in Eastern Conference Finals. LeBron still looks almost as good, if not better, than PG at some point. So,
and that's the other thing too. Like Paul George is going to need an extension, which means you're going to give him $45-50 million a year for a guy who, over the last 5 years, has missed a lot of games. He's been pretty injury prone. So that's a risk. That's a big risk for the Knicks to take. I mean, I'm not saying they do that same thing and try to go after KD, who's possibly available, but I'm sure there's better options than Paul George out there.
Hey, I'm pro. Go ahead, Greg. I just want to say, I love me DeMar DeRozan, and Griff makes it great point. Paul George obviously takes his job serious, but DeMar, he has more of that Kobe cloth in him, and that's going to work beautifully in New York if he does go, and it'll work beautifully with what Thibs does, because Thibs, we've seen what he's done during the regular season. We just had the whole conversation how it wasn't his fault about injuries. I don't think Paul George is on board to play all 82, to be playing 40 minutes on game 3. Like Thibs you're going to play 46 minutes game 3 of the season. That's what he's going to do. DeMar is still about that. In Chicago, they literally, their NBA finals is getting to the play-in for the last 2-3 years. And he still is playing 45, 46 minutes, still putting in the work, still getting a lot of buckets, still making the right plays, still leading. He's top 3 in clutch points over the last 3 years, every year. You add that with a Jalen Brunson, if they decide to go that route, with Thibs as a coach. You see in a series like this, hey, y'all go ahead, double Jalen Brunson if you want, and you got DeMar DeRozan that could close out the game too, and a healthy OG and Julius Randle, because that was nasty work that they just literally was like, all right, half court, as soon as he passed, double him.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna say, and we can move on. I don't have a lot to say about this. Besides, I've been telling Miles for years, since the Knicks have made this miraculous turn to relevancy again, that it's time for them to take a risk. When you're close, you gotta take the risk to make the full jump, dive in the deep end, and go for a championship. Do not let Julius Randle block your blessings. Don't do it. That's all I'm gonna say, because he will block your blessings.
Greg, hey, hold on. Aren't you a Nets fan?
Absolutely, and we went for it.
Yeah, you really went for it. You were a toe away, right? You were a toe away.
I have no regrets. I got no regrets about it. It was gonna work. It was gonna work, and guys got hurt. It happens, but
it's fair.
You take those chances. You have to take them in this NBA. You have to take those chances. You have to, and if you don't, maybe it'll work out. Maybe it doesn't. But Julius Randle ain't gonna be. He is not a championship player, bro. Telling you that right now. Telling you, I don't trust that guy. I watched him dribble into a shell defense in Boston from the top of the key. He tried to post up from the top of the key from the 3-point line against a shell defense, and I was done. I was done right there. Over. Because you can't be that stupid as a grown man playing in the NBA. And he's that dumb.
Never forget.
And he's a bad team. And I don't think he's a great teammate. There's been examples.
I agree with that.
You were yelling at Jalen Brunson early in this season on a Friday matinee game. We were watching the late night game. Friday playing the Bucks. Jalen cooking, and Jalen takes a shot down the stretch, and he misses, and you have the nerve to stand there and not get back on defense and be yelling at this guy. And it's not the first time it's happened. He struggled in New York, and he's had little outbursts and little tiffs where he don't want to get back on defense. He's worried about the crowd saying to him. He's complaining. All this nonsense. Get him out of here. Get him out of here. You have a good thing going. Get him out. Do not let that guy block the blessing. I promise you. And look, we actually said this too. We didn't even know where that guy was. He wasn't on the bench for a lot of the postseason. I didn't see him. Why are you not out there supporting your teammates? You didn't have an eye injury. You can't not see bright lights. You had a shoulder injury. You could sit down and sit your ass on the bench and go watch your teammates play. It's I'm telling you, get that guy out of here. I'm telling you, it's the best thing for the Knicks.
Hey, you already know I'm not going to disagree with you. I'm not a fan of Julius Randle, more so of his attitude, how he carries himself. He had that good year when he first was there, and he was by himself, and he really took that Kobe mentality to his head. And I don't know in what world he thought he was about to be the face of New York, and that they were going to build around him solely, and they wasn't anybody that they brought in would fall under my wing, and I'm still the 1A guy. That was I don't know if they lied to him in his meetings or something like that. But there was no way in the world that Julius Randle was going to be the 1A guy forever with the Knicks. That's no way. I mean, kudos to their confidence.
It burns that guy up inside.
That's what they do in New York. They're going to tell everybody in the interview, hey, you can be the face. You can. Bring it back. You start this. And he probably was like, yeah, I'll start it. And then Brunson came in and quickly took it. And I think that kind of went to his head a little bit where he was like, oh, wow. I built this, Brunson. I started it. But did he really build this? It's a hard game to play. I can understand both sides. But yeah, Julius, I think, is the most movable piece if we're talking about that for the offseason.
Hey, look at that. GP ready. He ready to be in the front office. He said the most movable piece. Kept it real nice. Because he more than movable.
I'm democratic, man. I'm democratic.
He more than movable. Me, Greg, and Miles will pack his boxes now for him.
Is Miles packing his bags? Miles ain't want to pack RJ's bags. He called RJ a cook. RJ cooking a
What? Did you see what he's doing in Toronto? He's playing pretty well.
Playing in obscurity when it don't matter.
He's a good player on a bad team situation.
Yeah, right. What are we talking about, bro? They ain't game planning for you. They ain't game planning for you, bro. They ain't worried about you. They worry about Scotty. They worry about other dudes. You
worry about Scotty.
You worry about Scotty.
They worry about quickly
about him for different reasons. That's what they're worried about.
You can see he ain't shit. He's not
Beat
right.
me up, Scotty. Look at that to the next round. The Pacers Celtics. Y'all give me y'all takes on how the series goes. We don't have to go too deep into it, being that I'm pretty sure everybody on the screen, for the most part, has the Celtics winning. But what do y'all see some of the keys for the Celtics to win, and Pacers possibly winning? What would be the keys for the Pacers to actually win the series?
Pace.
Yeah.
As ironic as that is, they got to push the ball. That's where they created a lot of mismatches against the Knicks. Is after a made basket, they're already passing it to half court, and they're now it's a 2-on-1 before you can even set up the defense. So I think the Celtics have a really good defense, but if you're able to get them out of sorts and people guarding the wrong guy, then that's when you can create mismatches. And I think that's the way they have to play. They can't play at whatever pace the Celtics want them to. They've got to control it, and I think speeding things up, that can make Jaylen Brown stumble on his left hand. Or Jason Tatum's taking crazy shots, which, he'll make some, but I've seen him go 6 for 26 in games. So Celtics aren't unbeatable. They can be beaten by this Pacers team, but things have to go really, really well for them. And is Porzingis going to be back at some point? I doubt it. I don't think he's going to be back anytime soon unless they make the finals. So you're putting a lot of pressure on Al Horford. And Miles Turner's really good. He's a really good shooting big. He can blow by you too. but I don't know who's going to do. I mean, Jason Tatum, I guess, is going to D Pascal. I guess. We'll see. We'll see. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, when I was looking at the series, if I'm a Celtics fan, this is what I don't want to see in the first 5 minutes. I don't want to see step back three Jason Tatum. I don't want to see just swing it around, nobody attack the basket, because they just played a Cavs series where they didn't have Jared Allen for the entire series, essentially, and didn't attack the basket at all. Evan Mobley, I love him, but he's not huge. He's not massive. You can dunk on him, and none of them drove to the basket. They live and die by the three, and it drives me crazy. And the Pacers are going to attack the basket. They're just going to always be running. So their twos are going to mean more than normal twos because they're going to put up 140 on you. So you're going to live and die by making maybe 40% from three. I'm not confident. I'm a Celtics fan. If I see a first possession three, I'm going to be like, all right. Why are we doing this? Set a screen, get around and attack Miles. Get him in trouble with some foul trouble off the back because he'll jump. He's a big guy down low. He'll jump. So it's like, that's what I'm worried about. And I don't want to even skip over the Pacers. They're going to steal a game or two. And we saw what they can do. They can close. And they're super deep. They're super deep. The Celtics, not as deep as the Pacers. So I would hate if I'm Tatum seeing Pascal for a while and then seeing Nesmith come off the bench for a little and then get a little, TJ McConnell for fun, a little different size on him. So I don't know.
Yeah, Griffin hit the nail on the head. They live and die by that 3-point shot. And honestly, I mean, the Pacers could make this a series, and it's. I think it'll be a 6-game series. I think the Celtics are stupid, and I think they play money ball. They'll take 53s, and they'll have a game where they make 7 of them or 10 or whatever, and then they lose, right? And it's a blowout loss. And especially when that series turns over and goes back to Indiana, right? When you go play in that Rockets environment, they'll play well over there. They'll play well in front of the home fans. They'll make shots. And so it certainly has the makings of a series that on paper is boring as all hell, and I don't want to watch it. But it could get interesting quickly because the Celtics are going to make it interesting because they'll have a couple games that they play down to the competition, and they'll have a couple games where they don't play as well as they should. And that is all the difference when you're talking about this series here. So, yeah, I think the Pacers have to get some stops. They're not a great defensive team. You've got to get stops. I mean, if you want to run, it's better to get a rebound than to take it out the net and try to push it. It's much harder to do that. You can get Al Horford all behind, running up and down the floor, trying to gas him for win. That's what you want to do. That's your key right there. And they'd be smart to get to let Kristaps Porzingis rest with his situation with the calf, right? They'd be really smart to do that. As well, because you don't want him having a blown tire like we saw KD have up in Toronto in the finals, right? So you got to be careful in that situation. But I think the Pacers have a puncher's chance of making it a series. The Celtics should win in 6.
All right, so that's your pick. You got Celtics in 6. Miles and Griff, what's your picks on this series?
Celtics in 5, probably. I mean, I think the Cavs. I think the Pacers should be able to win one game, and that game might be one of these first 2 games in Boston, honestly. I mean, sometimes the Celtics have these lapses where, I don't know, they don't play like the team that they should be. Like their best record by far in the league. On paper, they should be the best team in the league, but yet they let the Cavs blow them out at home in a pivotal conference semis game. So sometimes I don't understand this team, like Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. They should be like Jordan and Pippen, honestly, but we don't get that too often. We get the watered down version way too often. So I need them to step up and really, if this is the year, like they've been saying for the last 4 years, like this is it, then sweep these boys. Like this, the Pacers aren't on their level, but the way they play can turn the tide in this series. But I still think that Celtics in 5 is the thing.
Yeah, I got Celtics, and I'm going to call it 5.5 because those games are going to look like an overtime, like, holy cow, how did Indy come back, almost win game 3? It's going to feel like it has to go 6 games because of the pace of play that the Pacers are going to play. Wow, that was a crazy sentence the whole time in that series. But you know what I mean? it's like Miles was saying, they just fall asleep at the wheel. They'll get up by 15, 20 and just take their hands off the gas. But you can't do that with the Pacers. They're going to come back, and you can't do that with anybody in these playoffs we've seen. And I'm already seeing the storylines. Okay, you guys beat, your first round matchup. You went to the second round. You take on the Cavs injured. You take on the Heat injured. You take on the Cavs injured. You're now about to play the 6th seed Pacers, who are like, we're 1 seed away from talking play-in tournament, guys. And they did it in the in-season tournament. The Pacers took care of business here. So, like, the Pacers have a mental leg on the Celtics where they're like, hey, we can hang with them. It's 1 game at a time. That's how we've been playing the whole season. It's 1 game at a time. So if I'm a Celtics fan, I want to sweep. I don't even want to hear about it because they need to show that this run isn't just they made it to the finals because of all these breaks. Like, they just had the easiest road out of any of these teams so far. But I don't think it's going to look like that in this series. So shout out to the Pacers if they can snag 1 or 2.
I'm going to go against the grain right here. Put my, say it with my chest. I got the Pacers in 6. I'm going with the Pacers in 6.
I love it.
I love it.
I'm going with the Pacers in 6. If it goes 7, I don't think they win it in Boston, but no Porzingis. More than likely, no Porzingis. They live and die by this 3. I can't trust them. I can't trust them. And this is the type of series where it could turn into, if it turns into high scoring, that favors the Pacers. If the Pacers are putting up anything above 110, 115, they might lose 1 game. But if they're going to keep it at that pace, like we've been saying, I'm favoring the Pacers in this series. I think Boston, we're going to have some tough conversations in the summertime. I don't believe on them. Hey, I could be wrong. Let me know. Could be wrong.
There's no way the NBA's letting this happen, though. They're coming out. They're paying everybody they need to pay. There's no way we're about to see Timberwolves Pacers in the finals and then a sweep of, like, talk about the last team the Pacers would want to see, or the Timberwolves, because they're at the same level in terms of energy. Like, we're seeing that. Like, I'm seeing stuff where it's like start, bench, cut, and they're like Ant, Luka, and Tatum, just completely disregarding Halliburton. Halliburton's was on an MVP pace for a whole while today, the whole season until he got banged up. So it's like the disrespect. I think the Pacers are seeing it. You can't. We saw LeBron James. He's like, I don't check social media. They all check it. They all see this stuff. They see the content we all produce. Not maybe us with LeBron James, but shout out Byron Scott. He's checking it out. Like they're hearing about it. So I don't know. I'm with you, Tone. I want to say that, but I don't know if I can go that far.
Yeah, even if they do win, I can't see them winning. Long as Joe Mazzulla the coach, man, I don't see them winning a championship at all. The way that they play is not built to win a championship. Maybe back in the 70s or 80s this would have worked, but now, this ain't working. On that other series, we got Mavs against the Timberwolves. Can the Mavs actually win this series with Luka not being at his best? He's obviously hobbled. He obviously is going through some injuries. He had a pretty rough series. Kyrie had a pretty rough series. It was efficient, but it wasn't at the volume that you need. How do y'all see this series going, especially with Luka? Luka is hobbled.
I think the Timberwolves will win this series in 6 games. And I think one of the biggest reasons why is because the reason why OKC didn't beat them ultimately is because Chet is not a presence down low physically and can't rebound. They couldn't rebound with that team. They just couldn't do it. And I think it's little things. It isn't about Luka playing great or Kyrie. Those guys are going to do what they do. Superstars are going to play great. That's just is what it is. But when you talk about a series, the difference in it is oftentimes the little things, rebounding, the who has less turnovers, just things, made free throws down the stretch of games, right? And so I don't expect Derek Lively to get the best of Gobert or Naz Reid or Cat. And I don't expect Gafford to either. And I think that's a big difference in this series, right? You're not going to have the edge. You're not going to be able to out-tough this team physically down low in the paint and win in the trenches. And that's going to be the reason why you lose the series, in my opinion. Gobert is going to blow up a lot of these lob plays that Luka likes to throw or up to Lively. I don't think you're going to have the same success with that. And so it really forces you to play an ISO brand of basketball. If you look at the way the Mavs play offense, it really is high pick and roll. Luka going downhill, Kyrie coming downhill, beating and just trying to beat the defense and make the right read for open three. The Mavs live and die by the three as well, quietly. Kyrie is special and can break the mold a bit and get to his mid range, get to his stuff in the rim, but Luka can't right now because he's hobbled, right? And so I think the games Luka's played well in, he was making threes. He was making threes, right? And if he's not making threes, it's tough. He's a bit limited, right? He's not able to get to his playoff 2 feet. You head fake, ball fake, and then get to his fadeaway or get to, like it's not the same. He doesn't have the same mobility right now. So unless he magically gets healthy, and takes Toradol or something, I don't know that it's going to work out very well for them in this series with Ant guarding Kyrie. And Ant, no one can really guard Kyrie, but Kyrie struggled in that series as well. Had series with games in that OKC series where he didn't play as great. We don't talk about it because it's pretty, and he's doing a great job. But he had some games where he was ineffective, and so don't think Lou Dort had nothing to do with that. And so I just think they have a lot of great perimeter defenders you can throw at them. Great players in the paint they can play with Nas Reed, and they have a lot of different ways they can attack you. They're a deeper basketball team. They play a better brand of basketball. They're the best defensive team left in the playoffs for a reason. They do a phenomenal job flying around. They have a great game plan they go out there with, and I think they're going to be able to get the job done. They're the best team left. They should win the championship, the Timberwolves.
I don't disagree with that. I was going to bring up that whole lob threat thing. Luka loves tossing it. And yeah, when Chet Holmgren's the guy in the paint, or Jalen Williams, 6'9", 6'10" on a good day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but there's a whole different animal with Gobert and Townsend there and Jaden McDaniels. I mean, we got to give him the props too, because they'll probably throw him on Luka a little bit too, because Dort, I love Dort as a defender, but he was way shorter because Luka's, 6'8", and he's also kind of like a bulldog defender. He's just going to like really get in your grill, where McDaniels is going to be able to stop you and actually stop your shots with like his hands. He's going to be able to put your hands in his face on him in ways that he's not going to like. And Luka, we saw with Jokic, that was the first team to ever speed up Jokic. Luka plays the same way. He likes to play his pace, but they're going to speed him up because they're going to pick him up full court. They're not going to let you get into your sets until 5-6 seconds come off the clock, and that's really important. And so Luka's a little bit hobbled. He does look the best he's looked when need be. Like in Game 6, he looked healthy, for lack of a better word. But yeah, I'm going with the Timberwolves too. But I don't want to discount what the Mavs can bring to the table. I don't know about you, Miles.
I'm going to say Timberwolves in 5. I just think that with this team, they're just too strong defensively, and they're going to put a lot of pressure offensively on that Luka knee or hip or whatever's going on with him. Like, get him in the pick and roll, beat him up a little bit, wear him out. So on offense for him, he's not as effective. I mean, that's what I feel like the game plan should be, is to like wear him out. Because if Luka's hobbled already and he's worn down as the game goes on, I mean, that's a lot to put on Kyrie. Like, Kyrie's not a guy that I expect to, go full Dame or Jalen Brunson in the playoffs this year. Like, he's not a guy who's been doing that of late. Like, he's just not. So that's a lot to expect from him. And then I'd like to see what they can get from those role players on Dallas. Like, you're gonna have to get something out of them, like Tim Hardaway, some of those bigs, Gafford, the rookie, names escaping me, but like
Lively.
Yeah, Lively. But I think the Mavs run stops here. I mean, they overachieved a little bit. I think I honestly thought they might lose in the last round, but the youth of OKC came back to bite them in the end. So,
hey, this is going to be a series where you kind of alluded to it, but this is going to be a series, especially with how they play defense, how they're probably going to guard and approach any of these pick and rolls, how they're going to deal with it. Gobert might be in drop coverage. However they approach it, this is going to be a series where you probably need to see, if I'm Jason Kidd, I'm telling Kyrie, I need you to shoot 25 times a game. Last series, he did not do that. Lou Dort, you want to say maybe he was getting his teammates involved, whatever the case may be. This the series that we don't need you to be. If they have any shot to win this series, Kyrie is going to have to go nuclear. Go watch the tape. Maybe go beat your drum Imagine you playing with LeBron again, and it's in the finals. We're gonna need to see that type of Kyrie for them to actually advance. I see the Timberwolves winning in 5-2. They probably get one, but the way that they play D, I picked Dallas to go to the championship, right? But the way Minnesota is playing D, I said it on Threads. That game one against Denver. The way they play D, I'm not going to do the hyperbole like this is the best defense ever that we've seen in the NBA. Ain't going to go that far. But the way that they playing defense right now, the Mavs don't got enough. I'm happy that PJ Washington has been playing great this playoffs. I am happy for him, his new wife, his son. I'm great. I'm superb. But PJ Washington, I'm pretty sure they got a game plan to shut that down. They got a game plan, and that's the thing. The last series with OKC, they was getting, like Miles alluded to, we was getting to open shots, open 3-pointers, driving kick. The way this Timberwolves team is set up, they got length. So go ahead, pass and kick it out. I'm closing out. Mm-hmm. I have 2 bigs down there. I don't have to guard it that way. I got Gobert and Cat and Najee coming off the bench. Jay McDaniels, 7'2" wingspan. How y'all want it? How y'all want it? Y'all buy the beef, like Michael Beasley said. Y'all buy the beef. How y'all want it cooked? Cause y'all about to get cooked. Y'all want it hibachi style. Y'all want it well done, medium well. How you want it? Cause they have every answer for the Mavs. Defensively, they have an answer for every single thing. Even if Luka was healthy, they have an answer for everything. Shoot, they could have Mike Conley start off with Kyrie for a couple plays.
They wanted to.
If they really wanted to.
Yeah, and that's what they have to do. The Mavs then have to be like, all right, bet we'll get up by 10 then. Because he can't. Kyrie, I was saying this on my last pod, he's got to stop being too much of a Robin. I need to see that Batman in him. Like, he still has that. We've seen it all year. Batman cannot be PJ Washington putting up 27 on like 80% from 3-point line. They're going to let you do that. If the Timberwolves lose this series because PJ is averaging 27 a game on 80% from 3, all power to you. I mean,
yeah, I'm sleeping good at night.
Yeah, I'm sleeping good at night because they're going to leave those guys. They're going to leave Derrick Jones open because their team is a bunch of guys that just fly into the air without any like plan in place. They're just like, they're always jumping around. They're super athletic, but with the Timberwolves, they always have a plan, and it just is a little more fluid to it. And I think the Mavs, we really think they look good because they beat the 1 seed, but the 1 seed was the youngest team in NBA history to be the 1 seed, and OKC just wasn't ready for that kind of smoke at that kind of level. So sorry for cutting you off there, Greg.
No, I mean, yeah, I was going to say, Brother Lloyd made great points. All I was going to say is to Tone's point, there is nothing they can do. Maxi Kleber at the 5, and I mean, they can just answer that by going Naz Reid at 5, who has the mobility to play on the perimeter and all that. So you pulling him away from the rim doesn't make much of a difference. And I just love Anthony Edwards' athletic profile and his ability to be able to contest shots on Kyrie or even Luka if you want him to. And you still got Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who's going to play a big role in this series, getting out there. They just have so many ways they can affect your perimeter guard play. And your bigs Gafford and Lively are not skilled bigs that are going to take mid-range jump shots, take threes, and pull guys away from the rim. So Gobert gets to hang out where you don't want him to hang out. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that lob game is dead. Like, you may get a couple off, but it's really not going to be a big part of your offense. And the only thing you do is pick and roll offense. You don't even run like flex cuts. You don't run like back screens. You don't flex cut teams to death the way that Mike Malone does. Mike Malone runs a whole bunch of intricate flex cuts on the back end, all this stuff. The Jason Kidd don't do that. He said, just go hoop. I think my 2 guys are better than your 2 guys. Let's go get a win. And it's not going to work in this series. This backyard ball is not going to work. There'll be some games where Kyrie and Luka get hot and they'll win. But I think that at most it's going to go 6 because I think the Timberwolves have just more ways they can beat you.
Yeah, like you said, they bigs, they light in the pants. And like Griff said, they really have some athletic people and they just jump around. Oftentimes, hey, let's see what happens. They're the Wright brothers trying to figure out how to get a plane in the sky.
And I love it. It looks awesome. When they do those putback dunks, I'm like, holy cat, that was awesome. But you got to jump with the plan. And, I don't know.
Now, somebody that did have a pretty good job with the max work was Bronny James at the combine.
What a transition.
He's good at this.
I hope you're showing Zach Edey next, man, because he did the same thing. I hope you're showing Zach Edey.
Yeah, Zach Edey. We want to talk about who had some of the best combines and whatnot. But that was a clip. We're not going to show the whole thing. That was a clip where Bronny went 12 for 12 at one point from 3-point. I'll let y'all take it away. I just started off with showing Bronny. We don't have to start with Bronny. I'm on the same page with Perk. We ain't got to make the whole segment about Bronny. We have other viable prospects that are coming out in this draft.
And I want to get into that. No, go ahead, Miles.
No, I was going to say, wait, does Zach Edey have a Hall of Fame father? I mean, we could talk about him if he does. I mean,
no, hey, I am not trying to spread the gospel about Zach Edey. I'm just saying this is my stance on videos like that and those drills at the combine is I threaded about it. Is the NFL combine more important than the NBA combine? Exactly. It's not live broadcast. There's not enough things that I can take from an NBA combine like I can because the NBA is just so different. It's such a different sport. There's so much I don't know how to describe it, but think about this with Bronny and stuff. Somebody said it on the Ringers podcast the other day. They took his son to the game and they're looking at Cody Zeller, taking threes and warm-ups and he hit 20 in a row. And he's telling his son, he's like, yeah, that guy's not going to play tonight. He's one of the 12 best guys on this team, but he's not going to play tonight. And everybody says that he sucks. That's what we're looking at right there. Okay, we're shooting some threes and I'm happy for Bronny. I'm happy for anybody that had a good combine, but we can't take stuff like that and be like, all right, that's an NBA prospect. We got to take the tape on the court almost more seriously than we do it with NFL at that point, in my opinion.
Griff said something that I think the NBA combine tells you a lot more than the NFL combine tells you about prospects in the NFL for one reason, only, because they scrimmage. Yeah. Because they get up and down the floor and you get to see the feel for the game, the reads they make in real time, the way they play, the way they handle adversity. I thought it was huge that Bronny had that first game where he played like garbage and then comes back the next day and plays pretty damn well, right? And I think the way he plays defensively look. I don't want to even get into his viability as an NBA prospect quite yet. I don't want to do that because I think that there's some viability there. He can be an NBA player at some point with development. Is he ready to be in a rotation now? God, no. But he can be an NBA player. I do believe that. I've said that on this podcast for a long time, so it's nothing new. But what I'm going to say is to the Perk point, right, where Perk was on NBA Today and he's talking about how somehow these guys are unjust. It's just ridiculous that they talk about Bronny as much as they do. I don't understand where this fake moral stance comes from. And I call it fake because you work on TV. You're in television, bro. You are not about to sit here at 3:00 on a Tuesday afternoon and talk to me about Zach Edey and think I'm about to keep my TV on. I ain't doing it, bro. The scouts don't believe this draft class is going to be good. The scouts are talking, the anonymous scouts, we love them because they talk crazy because no one knows their name. They said that the best player in the draft class at best is Tobias Harris, level good. All right. And they're also telling us by their actions, teams, because the New Orleans had the pick swap with the Lakers and said, nah, y'all can have it. We don't need it. We don't need it this year. We good. And teams are literally like, yo, we don't want to draft because I'm not wasting my money, my cap space on a rookie scale contract, on a first round pick rookie scale contract. I'm not doing it because these guys aren't that good. Now, I'm not that there are going to be guys who are going to be good players in this draft, but we'll talk about them. Cool. But if you think that they're going to miss out on the opportunity to talk about the most intriguing, the intriguing storyline in this draft, which is Bronny James, because of not just Bronny, but because of his dad and how it affects his dad's free agency, which is lined up perfectly with this kid going in the draft, which was not a mistake, then you're out of your mind. And if Perk has a problem talking about Bronny, he shouldn't be on TV. You should go work somewhere else. You should start your own podcast. You should do something else, because if you think I'm about to talk about Alex Sarr, you're out your damn mind. You think I'm about to talk about some French guy I don't know, or some guy from Serbia that I don't know, you're out your damn mind. There's nothing wrong with bringing up Bronny and him dominating these conversations, because there's no dominant player in this class that we should be talking about that we're missing the boat on. There are guys I like, but I also watched that draft combine, and it was the worst collection of players in the draft combine I've seen in a very long time. It was not good basketball getting up and down that floor. A lot of misreads, a lot of missed shots. Nobody special. No one jumped out on screen. And you had Jared McCain and you had Isaiah Collier, who ain't even that good, sitting out. Most years, Isaiah Collier got to play. He got to go play. Bro, you're not guaranteed a top 10 pick in this class. You got to go play, bro. And he's out there sitting down. Rob Dillingham, he's sitting down. Rob Dillingham can't defend in the NBA, and he's sitting down. You can't defend in space. You're a great offensive player. I'll give you that. But you can't defend in space. And there's questions about you, but you getting to sit down because of this draft class. And so that's my point. So I'll be damned if I'm not talking about Bronny. Please give me a break. Stop being pretentious.
Rob Dillingham, I don't even know how good he's gonna be offensively. He weighed in at 170.
What?
170 pounds.
And he sat down, bro. He didn't play. He was like, when you sit down and you set the draft combine out, you're one of those guys. You're one of them ones. You know you're going high. He's a lock. Reed Shepard's better than him. Reed Shepard worked out. I don't know if Rob Dillingham worked out too. I think he weighed in, whatever.
So. Reed, shout out to Reed too. He had the second highest vert, I think it was, or tied for the highest vert, max vert.
Another reason why back in the 90s, back when Michael Jordan was playing, and it wasn't no white dudes from wherever they was at jumping like that.
Hey, Bob, on the conversation of being that this is considered, like Greg alluded to, the anonymous scout saying that if you draft somebody at 1, you're basically drafting Tobias Harris, which we saw again in the playoffs, the real Tobias Harris. What should be done with that number 1 pick? Is rumored that Atlanta wants to try to trade it, but the thing is, every other team knows ain't nobody in this draft. So what do they do with that number 1 pick?
I mean, there's a lot of smoke about Trae Young being possibly on the block this summer and getting traded. So, I mean, of course, you should try to float out the number 1 pick and see what you could get for it. I mean, I don't know if you're going to get what on most years you would get for the number 1 pick, but I think DeJounte is probably going to stay. Trae Young, if anything, would be the most likely to go, and you'll be able to recruit the most assets for him, I think. And then, pick one of the best players available. I mean, even here, I don't know if you have to, just because they're the highest rated. Like, I mean, I don't want to say Reed should go number 1, but if he's the best fit on your team and a guy that fits your team the best. I mean, that's what you see in the NFL draft. You see a lot of overreaches when it comes to some picks. And, I mean, Reed is probably a top 4 lock at this point. So, I mean, it would be a surprise if he went number 1, but I wouldn't hate the pick just because I know what Reed can do and how he can affect the game. He's like TJ McConnell on steroids, in my opinion. I think that's going to be his role in the league, a guy who can hit open shots. He can push the pace. He can play off ball, on ball. He plays defense for a guy with a short wingspan. And, I mean, of course, he showed his athleticism in the combine. So, I mean, I think Reed is I can't even say he's the most underrated player, but, I mean, maybe because he's a small white guy from Kentucky, maybe he's underrated. But that kid is going to be like a 15-year pro at the NBA level. So, I mean, pass on him if you want to. Like, these overseas guys, they're not locks. Like the French guy, sure, he's putting up numbers right now, but I mean, that's not against NBA talent. Let's see what he can do on a pro team, like a high-level pro team.
Hey, Griff, what's your takes on, from what you see? Because we already know. You've done your research, you've done your history, you know the stuff in and out. Who are some of the top prospects you see, even though it's considered a weaker draft? Who are some of the top prospects that you're seeing in this draft, and maybe like some sleeper picks?
For sure. No, and you guys all bring up really good points here. It's going to be really a pick what's best for your team kind of draft, not really best available, because there's no real best available, in my opinion, like we're all saying as well. I think in the Hawks situation, I actually want to zag a little bit on that and not really go the Reed Shepherd route. I think Alex Sarr is worth the risk. I know people are saying the number one pick's like Tobias Harris. Can he clarify which version of Tobias? Is it this year, or are we remembering when he was on the Magic and the Clippers and he was all right? I mean, he was on his he's made $175 million for a reason. You know, like he's been getting contracts. I know some guys just fall into that pattern, but Tobias was nice, and I think that's almost a little bit disrespectful. And again, anonymous guys will say stuff that's crazy. But what people are actually saying about Alex Sarr, people that actually review and study the game, they're saying he's kind of like a Jaren Jackson type, Jaren Jackson Jr. from the Grizzlies. That's an all-star. That's an all-star. We're coming off of a hangover from the draft because obviously with Wemby, Brandon Miller, Scoot Henderson, which I guess we're saying is good right now. Scoot had a tough year. I mean, his plus minus make you think twice. He's super athletic. It's impossible to come off of a LeBron James like draft and then be like, oh, the next year is going to be, it's a letdown. It's like coming off a drug, you know, like there was so much hype that there had to be a little bit of a letdown. So if I'm getting Jaren Jackson Jr. with the first pick, give me that. You have Clint Capella, you know, at the Hawks. He's aging out. You need a little bit more athleticism. He's 6'11". His wingspan is 7'4". Like, he's massive. He's a center. He has a body of a center, but he's like a wing. He's kind of super versatile, like Jaren Jackson on both sides. So I love him number one to the Hawks because if we're doing sure things, that's what I like. I also like if we're talking point guards, I like Reed Shepherd, but I actually really like Stephon Castle out of UConn. I think he's just got that motor to him across the board. He showed the same type of stuff on a championship winning team where he didn't even get to really show all of his stuff. And I think there's a lot more that he'll have on the table across the board. A lot of the comps that people are saying got that dog in him comes up a lot. If you watch his game, he plays bigger in size. I mean, he is 6'6" for a point guard. That you like to see that. With Reed Shepherd, is he just another guy that just shoots threes? Got a little bit of a weight issue, height issue. Like we'll have to see with him. If I'm going to take a pick on a point guard, Stephon Castle's kind of got that NBA body, you know? So I like him overall. What's kind of your guys' takes on Stephon Castle? Do you guys like him?
Oh, I like him. I like him a bit. He's one of those guys that stood out a bit. I mean, watching him play at a UConn, and you know he knows how to win. You know he's a winner. He can play in an NBA offense. He played in a intricate offense. You know, they were doing a lot of back screens, things like that. So in a normal year, Stephon Castle's a guy who's going to like Denver at like 27 or something. But this year, he might go like 12 or something ridiculous, like 11 or 10. And so it's just one of those situations where it is going to be about fit. But he can be a good NBA player and a good rotational piece pretty early on because of his size, because of his pedigree. And if he can shoot the ball pretty well, which he can, he has a chance to be a solid NBA player for a long time. And that's what a lot of these picks are like that. Jared McCain, same type of thing. He could be an NBA pro for a little bit, be solid. He's going to be a guy who's a pro for a long time as well. And it'll be interesting to see how he ingratiates himself in a locker room with all of his antics, you know. But AJ, the kid AJ Johnson has a lot of talent. He's one of those guys I take a risk on, especially in this class. I probably take a risk on him early. You ain't losing your job if you miss on that guy like pick 7. And I think he's going to go pretty high because he's young. He looks like he's 12. But he has all the athletic ability in the world. I've been watching that kid since he was in high school, and it's similar to Jalen Green. I think they're like related or something like that.
No, they aren't related. They both from
whatever.
They're both from the exact same city.
Yeah,
went to the same high school. You have the same trainer.
Yeah, there you go. People talk about them being related or something. I don't know. Regardless of whether or not they're related or not, I don't. You know, thank you, Tone, for the clarification because people are stupid. But you know, with him, he has the ability to shoot, shot create. You know, he's got the athletic profile to be able to defend in space if he buys into it. He can play point guard in the modern NBA. He can shoot. He's a 3-level scorer. He can score at all the 3 levels of the floor. And again, athletic enough to play at a high level in this game. So he has a ways to go. He's a kid. There's things he doesn't know. Obviously, you have to work with him. But I think if you draft that guy, you have a chance of, you know, building and developing a young guy who can be a damn good player for you for a long time. And I think I look at him like in any normal draft class, he's like a Brandon Boston type from a few years ago where he's super talented and you got to give him some time. This year, I'd take a flyer on him pretty early because I don't see, you know, who else is out there that's like moving the needle, you know, in that way where look, Donovan Clingan from UConn, he's Zubac or something. You drafted Zubac. All right, and that's solid. But at 1 though, at 2, at 3, and I can't talk about Bronny. Whatever, bro.
Hey, and that's a good. Go ahead, Miles.
No, you go.
I just was going to bring up another name at this point because there's a lot of young guys, and I all classify them as projects. None of them are like, oh, day one come in. But if I'm looking at a guy that's older, have you guys seen Dalton Connect out of Tennessee?
Yeah.
That kid's a senior, a pure scorer. I call him in my threads the Hami Jaquez kind of guy where he's going to fall to the middle and he's going to be instant impact on offense. And that's what you need, you know, in the NBA. A lot of people say defense gets you on the court, but like you need a score. Like if you're not going to the Pacers and then getting on the court because of your defense. They want you to just get up and down the court and shoot. This man has probably the best jumper I've seen in the draft. I know he's older, but think about him just placing him in right away at the forward position for any team. You think of yourself as like a Pelicans who might be losing, you know, like a Brandon Ingram in the offseason. Go get not a replacement, but go get a guy that can just come that scoring there. But yeah, Miles, I don't know where you were going.
No, I was just going to say, like, if Bronny's name was Andre Taylor, are we talking about him getting drafted?
When you say that, I don't understand your point.
No, I'm saying because same athletic profile, same college stats, same everything. Are we talking about him getting drafted? Are we drafting?
I don't like bringing up his stats.
No,
you can't do that. Don't bring up his stats because he had.
Then what are we bringing up? We're bringing up the name.
The dude's heart exploded.
What about Bronny? His name is LeBron James.
Yeah, right? Hold on, Miles. Hold on. His heart exploded. He did not start the season and play and all stuff. He was played out of position. And beyond that, no one's running from the fact that he was talking about him because he's LeBron's son. He gets preferential treatment because he's LeBron's son. That's the point. I'm going to talk about the fact that LeBron, who has been in the NBA since we were children, is now old enough and has played long enough and played at a high enough level to now where he has all the leverage. He's a free agent, and his son, who he's been prophesizing will be an NBA player since he was 15, is now in position to get in the draft, get drafted, potentially play with his dad in the NBA. This ain't so much about Bronny. You're making it about the wrong thing. Nobody, at the end of the day, no one cares about Bronny. You are LeBron's son. And we're going to talk about you because you're LeBron's son. And you have an opportunity to play with your father, and it's a credit to his longevity. That's what it's about. It ain't about your stats. It ain't about whether or not if we give you another name, we wouldn't be talking about you. We all know that. We wouldn't be talking about him if his name was Bronny and it was Bronny Carter or something. We wouldn't care. He is LeBron's son. So that's the point. That makes it relevant. And in a draft class like this, Bronny, the narrative around Bronny James, the storylines around Bronny is going to feed families, quite literally. We will watch the draft because we want to know where Bronny goes, and we want to know if it affects where LeBron goes. And that's the point. That's why I didn't sit here and break down Bronny's game to you. I didn't tell you about his NBA viability because no one really cares. Y'all don't care about that. You care about how it affects LeBron and what his next move. You care. That's what you care about. Tell me I'm wrong. And that's why it's worth talking about.
Thank God Marcus Jordan was not draft eligible when Michael Jordan was on.
It would have been the same thing. If Michael Jordan wasn't a deadbeat and worked with his kid, we'd be having the same conversation. We'd be having the same conversation years ago when it was his turn. Except not even, because Jordan's longevity didn't last because he couldn't stay off those cigars and couldn't stay off those women and couldn't stay off those damn clubs out in Vegas. And that is why he wasn't able to stay or play as long. But if he had an opportunity to play with his son, you don't think it'd be the same hoopla, if not bigger? It'd be a big deal. It'd be a huge deal. So I don't get standing on your moral high ground about us talking about Bronny. It's pretentious to me because Kendrick Perkins don't know 2 players in this damn draft class. He don't know 2 of them. But he won't talk about, we're not going to sit here and talk about Bronny, that stupid Southern accent. Give me a break, bbro. Piss me off. I watched that clip. He sounds stupid. He sounds so stupid. You're on TV. You trying to feed families. You want to feed families talking about Alex Sarr? Really, bro? Jaren Jackson Jr.? We didn't even talk about Jaren Jackson Jr. when he was getting drafted. We didn't even talk about him. Tell me I'm wrong.
That's fair. That's fair.
Come on, man. Be for real. Be like,
Is he getting drafted?
Who?
Marcus Jordan. Who do you think I'm talking about?
Bronny is definitely getting drafted. Bronny is getting drafted. Okay, and you know that. He's not.
Yeah,
He's gonna get drafted.
Bronny's definitely getting drafted, and in this regard, I appreciate it for them and the family. Smart business move. Because the draft class is weak, this only helps them out. If this was a different draft class, this might not turn out how the family would want. But Bronny's getting drafted. We said this 2-3 months ago. Soon as his father said, "I want to play with him," he sealed his fate of he's getting drafted. So,
Dallas is considering taking him early, and there's just smoke. But you don't think Cuban has been fantasizing about getting Bronny to Dallas for years? You don't think he might actually do it? You don't think he
100%.
would actually consider it? Yeah, like he's getting drafted. And I feel
especially
bad
after
for
they
Bronny.
leave this, especially after they exit this round.
But they're gonna want to reload and bring somebody to make their championship chances even greater. And LeBron's a perfect guy to do that. And so I think I feel bad for Bronny because you're a pawn at this point in a bigger game involving your father, and he doesn't want that. But that is what it comes down to. That's the reality of the situation. That's what it is. So yeah, man, like us talking about Bronny is warranted. It's warranted because, like, again, we can break down Rob Dillingham film or Reed Shepard film or Jared McCain film, and that's fun and all, but it's not even that fun. It's not even that fun. Like, what are we talking about?
Ending off the show. Got a couple games left in the playoffs right now. Who is the best player left in the playoffs?
Anthony Edwards.
I'm gonna go Edwards. We're talking moment. Like, if I'm getting it right now, is this the Edwards I'm getting forever? Then yeah. But if we're talking like Tatum because of the two-way ability with him, because you don't want Luka's two-way ability because his defense, he takes those days off. And Halliburton, I still think he's developing. So I think it's like Tatum or Ant one.
Oh, if that's the conversation, it's Ant. If that's the conversation, it's Ant Edwards. I ain't even
Perfect transition. Perfect transition. Would you rather Anthony Edwards, SGA?
Ant, probably Ant.
SGA should have won the MVP this year. It shouldn't have been Jokic. It bothers me. It doesn't sit right with me. Fuck, that's not easy. Griff, what do you think?
I don't know, man. I like SGA. I love SGA.
I do.
He's got that feel for the game a little bit more than Ant does. But Ant doesn't force it when he doesn't have it. Like, he lets his team, he lets, Cat do his thing. And that's what I really liked in Game 7. But I think I'm going SGA as well because he's just got that all around. He's got it fully buttoned up. And if the roles were reversed, I would want SGA on the Timberwolves, I think, right now over like an Ant. If you're thinking about like how you want, if you're picking a better player right now.
The only reason why I'm going to say Anthony Edwards because of his defensive ability and what he showed us, locking up Jamal Murray. I'll give Anthony the edge right now. But this is going to be a competition that flip flops. Griff is not crazy for saying SGA at all.
Anthony Edwards. Would you rather Anthony Edwards or Devin Booker?
Yeah.
Oh, Edwards.
So Anthony Edwards.
Would you rather
Book not defending like that?
Would you rather Anthony Edwards or Jason Tatum?
I just like Edwards' games more. They both bring the same thing to the table. I think I'm going to take Edwards, but I think it's a discussion.
I think I'm going to go Tatum on this one.
Disney. What? Miles, why?
What do you mean? I just think Tatum's a better player.
There's got to be a reason why. There's got to be a reason why.
A six-man guy that does what he does, and I mean, he does play defense. So,
okay,
is it crazy? Is it crazy?
Yes, it is. Because Anthony Edwards has what's in between the ears and what's in his chest is it makes him it separates him from that guy. Jason Tatum.
I hope we get a Celtics Minnesota finals, and we'll see.
You'll see it. You'll see it because last time Jason Tatum was in the finals, it didn't look so pretty, and he had to. He wrote a little Players Tribune article.
It just
Please.
shows
Yo,
how
the
good
idea that
the
Anthony-
wings are in the NBA right now. Because think of it like this. We talk about Jokic or Embiid. I think we all are picking Jokic, right? It's like no debate, right? No debate. Okay.
Yeah.
So then we think about all these
Yeah.
guards and forwards. It's like they're that good. They're all that good that it's like, okay, pick your poison. What I need other things around me. With Jokic and Embiid, I'm like, if we're starting from scratch, it's an easy choice. But with Ant or Tatum, I'm like, okay, well, I mean, a 6'10 wing is a little bit better than a 6'6 guard. Like when you're team building and what they bring to this. So it's hard. It's a harder decision. That's why I'm like, I'm 51% Ant, but I'm 49% Tatum. It's not that far off.
It should be that close. And Tatum should be better than Anthony Edwards. Does that make sense? He should be, because of everything you mentioned, the physical measurables, all that stuff. Yeah, the skill set, cool. It's not there. His heart isn't there. When it matters most, he is not going to show up. That is not me being facetious. That's not me making something up. Anthony Edwards has more. I hate the dog cliche, but it's true. And he shows up when it matters. He rises to the occasion. He's a big game player. And on top of that, I love his defensive ability. I think Tatum plays great defense too. I think it's underrated. I do think Tatum can defend. I believe that I've seen it. But I'm taking the guy who I can trust more in big moments over the guy that I don't trust at all in big moments. Who's going to heave up threes. His shot profile for a guy his size right now is terrible. Anthony Edwards' shot profile for a guy for his game and what we see from him, he plays the game the right way from a shot profile standpoint, like getting to the rim, drawing fouls. He's trying to force the issue in terms of getting to them, drawing fouls, and getting to the free throw line. He can hit threes, he can hit the mid range, but his game starts at the rim, and that is the right way to play. And Tatum's the exact opposite.
Are we dogging on Tatum because we're forgetting about all the time left that Edwards has, though? He hasn't had enough time to show us his inability to get it done. But Tatum has, they've always been ahead of schedule. Tatum's still like 26 years old, and he's been to the Eastern Conference Finals 2 or 3 times. And there was moments where like that's Kobe right there. That's insert name here. And so he had his Ant run where we were like, this guy's up next. And so are we just dogging him because of the time difference? And that's what makes this comparison so hard.
That's fair. That's fair. I think that's very fair. I just think I've seen it happen so often with Tatum. And I know he's young and he can turn it around. I get that. But right now I have questions about whether or not he can be the best player on the championship team, not because of talent, but because of the way he plays the game. It's the way you play. It's the way you approach it. It's the way you approach the offensive game. But I know that Anthony Edwards can lead the team to a championship. I know he can because of his shot profile. I know that in big moments, if he's not feeling it, like last night against Denver in Game 7, a crucial moment, get to the rim, draw a foul. You get to the rim, you get to the rim, get 2 feet in the paint, kick it out, make a nice pass, right? Like the way he plays is far more effective and conducive to winning championships than Jason Tatum, in my opinion. And I think the evidence is there if you're just watching these two guys play. I think Griffin that's a great point. That's very fair.
I said Ant too. I'm just trying to defend Tatum is close.
Oh, I know. You're trying to be nice. You're trying to defend Miles, because you ain't got to defend him. He's good, man. You're trying to be nice, you're diplomatic, and all this shit. Miles is talking to nonsense right now, and that's okay. I don't know. Maybe he's emotional about the Knicks. There's things going on. I understand that. I don't get it. But to say Tatum in a blanket statement without me giving me a reason why, when I just give you reasons why Ant is better, irresponsible. That's all I'm gonna say. Irresponsible.
Last one: Anthony Edwards or Luka Doncic?
Oh, Ant for sure. Luka doesn't play defense, guys. Everybody on social media will say, oh, he got that one steal. Yeah, when he tries in the last 2 minutes of a game, I'm glad he can turn it on for a second. Ant is on both sides of the court, huffing and puffing. Luka's huffing and puffing just because he's not built that way. He's just not in shape enough. Like, I love Luka. He doesn't get sped up. He doesn't all of this, but it's an Ant. Ant for sure.
Oh,
here we go again.
I would say Luka, honestly. I mean, I feel like if he was healthy, he could take this series over. But now he's a little banged up. There's a few more excuses to play. But we've seen Luka put the team on his back before. He's taken his team to the conference finals when he had nobody. I mean, Porzingis wasn't there. He was on the bench. I mean, so for it to just be a quick Anthony Edwards over Luka, I just don't see it. just because like Luka's been here, he's been around the block. He's still young. He's only like a year or two older than Anthony Edwards at this point. So I think it's just reckless to just assume and make that decision. But I know where Greg's going with this.
The question Tona asked, if I'm not mistaken, is who's the best player right now? Right now? Or who's better overall? What's the question again? Just make that clarification for me.
Who would you rather?
Who would you rather?
Right now. You said right now?
Come on, man. You played Who Would You Rather, back in high school and all that stuff. No.
With the right now clarification, you are dead wrong. Anthony Edwards is the easy answer because it's right now. It's my current right now. So I want Luka. So Luka on one leg is better than Anthony Edwards. He on one leg. He's a blown tire. And I'm taking him over Anthony Edwards, a Maserati. I'm taking a Toyota RAV4 with a donut on it right now. That's where we at. He's not even playing. He's inconsistent because of his physical ailments. All right,
so without the illness, he's a Toyota RAV4. Is that what you're saying?
Not actually. He's probably more Urus or some shit. He's a Urus. He's one of them cyber trucks. That
I can't wait to see this reel on this clip right here. We're gonna have a bunch of trucks in the back.
He's a cyber truck. You ever seen a cyber truck? Yeah, I've seen those things that people are buying.
They're crazy. Crazy.
Yeah. They're crazy. That's what Luka is right now.
Odd man out. Which of these players did not score 50 points in the playoffs? Donovan Mitchell, Rick Barry, Ray Allen, or Dwayne Wade?
I don't think Ray Allen's ever scored 50.
I'm gonna say Dwayne Wade.
Ray Allen scored 50 in the playoff game? I just don't see it. He probably did.
Maybe like back in his younger days, like Sonics, maybe. I'm
gonna say Ray Allen didn't. I'm not gonna overthink this. I just don't think he did that.
Actually, Donovan Mitchell scored 50. Rick Barry had a 55-point game in the playoffs. Ray Allen had a 51-point game in the playoffs. Yeah. Dwayne Wade's career high in the playoffs is 46.
When did Ray Allen? He's saying, yeah, like when did he do that?
What do you mean when did he do that? Way back when? I mean,
back in his Bucks days?
No, shut up.
Way back when? It wasn't last year, so
funny enough, funny enough, everybody on the screen is wrong. It was not way back when. This was in 2009 with the Boston Celtics.
Well, that's way back when for me. That's shit.
I'm saying it's not. He was with the Bucks at the beginning of his career.
He must have hit like 17 threes or something ridiculous in that game.
Yeah.
Paul Pierce probably in a wheelchair somewhere rolling off. They're like, "We need you, Ray. We need you."
Paul Pierce
going. If I remember, that's what it was. Y'all remember when it was? This was that crazy Bulls Celtics series.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
This was that game 6. This was game 6. The final score was 128-127 to the Chicago Bulls actually won that game. Damn. Ray Allen played 58 minutes that game. Paul Pierce was there, but there was no KG. So that was that series. Last one to close out tonight's great episode. Who has more playoff 3-pointers? J.R. Smith or Paul George?
Feels like a setup.
It's JR.
Yeah, it's JR.
I'm going to go JR.
That's all he did was.
Yeah, right.
It's JR. 294 playoff threes. Paul George at 276. Who has more playoff 3-pointers? Danny Green or Kobe Bryant?
I'm going to say Danny Green.
Yeah, I mean, I know who took more attempts. That's easy. And and the RS is Kobe's gonna get them shit. Kobe, he was gonna get them up. So
he was just so mid range though. I'm gonna go Danny. I'm gonna go Danny.
Yeah.
Dang, I gotta be better. It was Danny. Terrible options. I gotta be better. Danny Green, 315 3-pointers made. Kobe at 292.
Not far off.
And before we close out, we do our typical anthem as we close out. We have Griff on the show, and I just have to ask, schedule release has came out. What record do you see your Seahawks getting?
Oh man, if we can be one game over 500, I'm happy. 9-8, that'll feel good. 10-7 would feel even better. But hey, new coach, new regime. We're super excited, but it's still, we still got Gino, and I love Gino. Maybe Hal will throw it around a little bit. Maybe we'll see JSN take another step. I don't know. I'm gonna say 9-8. That's where I'm gonna lock it in at.
9-8. And last thing, because you just brought up Gino. Gino was confident, and he was upset that people was talking about there being a conversation that he won't start. If you're the coach, who are you starting? Who gives the Seahawks the best chance to win this year?
Hal threw the most touchdowns behind the worst line and got sacked the most last year. And the Commanders with no sort of offensive plan. The man can sling it. I give him a shot. Give the kid a shot. Gino's got one more year in him. So I think it's just a battle. It's whoever's ready. That's my opinion. I love Gino. I got no issues with Gino. He's shown us the best of Gino. So, but if Hal's up next, why not? It's a new coach. He's going to try every option.
Like you said, man, whoever's ready, because if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. Bench mob, we out. Peace.
I said you.